Hey guys, Christian here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the Medicare residual income opportunity if you are not familiar with it, okay? So the Medicare business, I would say, is very much built on the back of renewals, right? So let's compare the Medicare business to a couple of other different types of insurance products that you might see sold or talked about, right? So let's compare Medicare to final expense. We see a lot of people talking about final expense, and we sell final expense too, but it's not a driving force of our business. And this is why. I'm going to show you guys in this video today the magic of renewals. Before we get into that though, I got to talk to you guys about Lead Heroes, you guys. Lead Heroes has got you covered when it comes to telemarketing leads, whether it be final expense leads, Medicare supplement leads, turning 65 leads, or whether you need help with virtual staffing, you guys. Lead Heroes has got you covered. Just because you watch this video today, they're going to give you 10% off any order you make in the website. Link to the site can be found down in the description, so go ahead and check them out. All right, so let's talk about this, guys. So what do you think the average case in terms of commission is going to look like in the final expense world? Well, it's not really my wheelhouse, so if you guys think I'm off on this, I'd love to hear about it, and that's perfectly fine. I would say maybe about $700 to $800, right? Some can be more, some can be less, of course. Even if you wanted to go as high as $1,000, I would be cool with that, right? Final expense, all the statistics I've ever seen from people that I trust that know a lot more about final expense than I do say that final expense has somewhere between a 70% to 80% retention in the first year, retention rate. So that means 20 to 30% of your final expense policies that you're going to be selling are going to do what? They're going to charge back. They're going to cancel in the first year. You get your annualized commission, right? Your advanced commission, boom, pay it back 6 months down the road, or pay us some of it back 6 months down the road. Not only that, guys, final expense just doesn't pay the same kind of renewals. I'd say little renewals. And I always get a lot of hate when I say this because they're like, I get, I get $5,000 a month in final expense renewals, Christian. Well, a lot of times you're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% a year in renewals. Now, there might be some exceptions to that, but the renewals just aren't what they are in the Medicare space. They're just not, you guys. And so it's more based on the big first year commission and the big home run, which there's nothing wrong with that, but there's so often that I will talk to people in the final expense world and that's all that they do. They might be a single agent and they might be killing it. They might be doing $200,000 a year in premium, $300,000 a year in annualized premium. But they feel like they're on the hamster wheel and they have to keep selling in order to keep the money flowing as an agent and a business owner, right? So this is kind of what you're looking at with final expense. If we go on this side to talk about Medicare, Medicare is going to work a little bit differently, right? So the average lifetime of a Medicare client, I think if you do even an average job for them, depending on what you're selling, of course, I think it's going to be a little bit longer for Medicare Supplements than Medicare Advantage, but it's probably going to be somewhere in the ballpark of about maybe 5 to 6 years would be my take on it. Some people might say 3 years, 2, 4 years. I don't believe that. I think it's probably more like 4 to 6 years, somewhere in there. Let's say 5, right? So I'd say 5 years on average. This is if you're selling Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplements together, right? Maybe longer, right? I've had clients that I've had for 8 years, 9 years as an agent. So not always going to be the case. I've also had clients that have fallen off the books in 2 or 3 years. So if you average everything together, that's probably what we're looking at. Also, with a Medicare client, you're probably looking at, depending on what you're selling, right? If it's a new to Medicare Advantage client, and we'll get into that in a second if you're selling Medicare Advantage, but it's going to be much higher than if it's a replacement or something like that. But let's just say, for the sake of example, just so we have some nice round numbers to work with, that you're looking at about a $350 on average commission, depending on what you're selling in the first year. So on the outside looking in, people probably say, oh, final expense, more. However, final expense has this, limited renewals, right? Medicare pays lifetime renewals with Medicare Advantage, and they pay the same renewal rate typically for most companies in most states. It can vary a little bit depending on where you are, for up to 6 years for Medicare Supplements. And I'll break that down essentially how that works in a moment here. But this is probably for the first year, right? So imagine if you're in a scenario, well, of course, we'll even chop this down a little bit just so that way people can't say that we're not, that we're trying to stretch the truth a little bit. So the renewal rate on Medicare Advantage sale is about $286 and some change. So let's round it up to $287. So $287, right? And that would be the renewal rate on the plan if it's a Medicare Advantage plan. It'd be $573 if it is a new to Medicare Advantage. So obviously you're not going to make that every time. Of course, if it's a replacement plan you sell during the year, it's going to be prorated. We'll get into all those specifics in a second here. But if you have 5 years on average of retention, not only that, 70 to 80% retention rate over here, if you do a good job for them, you're looking at probably a 95% rate of retention. It is based on a relationship business. Final expense, not to say that it's not based on a relationship business, but it's probably more on the lines of hitting the big home run, getting the policy, getting through the first year. Medicare, you want to keep the person on the books as long as possible by marinating that relationship and taking good care of the customer through your excellent customer service and your giving heart, right, as a Medicare agent. So 95% retention, 5 years on average. So you're probably looking at, if you're at 5 years on average, right, without having a calculator on me. Do we have a calculator? All right, so calculator, okay? So let's say you're making $287, right, on average. And it's hard to kind of determine because then we'll go over the commission in a little bit here. But let's say you keep that client for 5 years, guys. That's $1,435 over that time span. So maybe you could even round it up to $1,500. A lot of big organizations do their business in the way that they're looking at the lifetime value of a client, right? So if they run their numbers and they know their numbers, and trust me on this, good organizations and good agencies know their numbers. They know how long, on average, they're keeping their clients. They know, on average, what their commission is going to be, and they know, on average, what their rate of retention is going to be, right? And they look at it more of a standpoint that instead of your first year commission, they're looking at the lifetime value of the client. So they look at it as the organization most likely brought in about $1,400 to $1,500 over that time span. This is what call centers look at. This is what big, successful organizations and agencies look at. They look at the lifetime value of the client and the customer. So the lifetime value of a Medicare client is going to be more valuable than a final expense client, in my personal opinion. Of course, I am biased, right? So the Medicare opportunity is rich. And let's say you keep a client for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I know agents that have been in the business for 30 years. And they'll have clients they've kept in the books for 15 years, 20 years. From the time they turn 65 all the way through the rest of their life, they are able and have the privilege to work with that client. That's something you can do in the Medicare business. It's a relationship business, right? So if we're going back to the Medicare residual income aspect of it, if you're selling Medicare Advantage, right, we'll do MA sales for Medicare Advantage. A person is going to make, at the time of recording this, in 2022, $573 on a new to Medicare Advantage sale. Then, in year 2, they're going to make a renewal rate, which is about $286.50 on the renewal, which equivalates to be about maybe $23 and some change monthly. So if you sell a Medicare Advantage plan, let's say you write me, let's say Christian, I'm on Medicare, I'm not even close, but let's say, I injure myself. Let's say I'm doing this video and I fall, I trip, I crack my head open, I'm disabled. You write me. And I'm new to Medicare. You're going to get this right up front no matter when it's written in the year. with most companies. There are one or two companies that might prorate this. I will not say names. If you want to know, let me know, and I'll try to find a way to, off the book record, share that with you. But most companies, most of the big name organizations, that's not going to be the case. And then let's say I'm happy with you. You've done a good job for me as a customer. Then you're going to keep me on the books year 2, 3, 4, 5. The way that works is in January of the next year, and I'm still on the books, this was your payment for 2022. You'd start getting $23 and some change monthly for every month I'm on the books starting January of 2023 going forward. And so that's how you start to see this kind of snowball, right? What if you have 100 clients on the books, right? 100 clients on the books and they're paying you renewals in year 2. Well, you're probably looking at it's some change here. So it's probably, I think it's about, I don't remember what the change is. I'd have to do the math on it, but let's just say it's north of $2,300 a month residually coming in the next year. So you see how this starts to snowball. What if you're able to write 200 apps that year? 4,600, guys. 4,600 at that point. People always ask me. I wanted to mention another thing. So let's say you write somebody that's not new to Medicare on a Medicare Advantage plan. And for some reason they qualify for some kind of election period. They qualify for a special enrollment period. Maybe they're a dual eligible person, someone eligible for Medicare and Medicaid simultaneously. That commission is going to be this, but it's going to be prorated based on how far in the year you write it. So if you write it 6 months into the year, they're going to take 6 months of the commission off. So they're not going to pay the entire rate like they would in most cases on a new to Medicare Advantage set. So understand that. We'll talk about Medicare Supplements in a second here, but people always ask me, is this a good time to come into the business? Is this a good opportunity for me? Absolutely. This is the best time, in my opinion, ever to get into this business. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you why. When I first started, they always said that you needed about 500 to 600 clients to make a six-figure income, right? 500 to 600 clients to make a six-figure income. And I am, and I do run six-figure Medicare Agent, so that's what I'm all about. I'm trying to help you guys get to a six-figure income as fast as possible. I did this myself by the time I was 25 in renewals. I was making 100 grand a year in renewals, you guys. My company's been making multiple six figures for many years now. We're on the brink of getting close to getting to 7 figures. So I want to show you guys how easy this is and how it's easier now than it's ever been. So to give you the exact number, if you're looking at $286.50 on a replacement, right, and that's your renewal rate, but you get paid out monthly in year 2, 3, etc. You're making about $23.87. That's the exact number, right? That'd be your monthly payout starting year 2 and beyond. So $23 and what was it, 87 cents? So if you're trying to make 100 grand a year, it's so much easier to do this than it ever has been. It's never been easier. 100 grand isn't that much money anymore, guys. It's really not. $100,000, divide that by 12, you're going to need about $83.33 a month in income, right? So $83.33 monthly, right? So how many clients would you need on the books in order to do that? Now, in some states like New Jersey, California, the commissions are even higher, so you don't even need as many clients as I'm about to tell you to do it in those states. But you need 350 clients basically. You have 350 clients on Medicare Advantage plans paying out renewals. You as an agent will make a six-figure income. That's so much easier than when I started, right? It's amazing how lucrative this opportunity in this business is as a Medicare agent, right? Now let's talk about Med Supps, because Medicare Supplements is the other side of the coin, right? When somebody gets onto Medicare, they either qualify for Medicare, typically they're going to have the option of either purchasing a Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare Supplement plan. If you want to know what those plans look like, watch another video. This is a commission video. But typically for Medicare Supplements, you're looking at somewhere between 20 to 22% of the monthly premium is going to be your street level commission. And in some plans, that will be the commission for, like, let's say a plan G, but certain companies like Cigna in a lot of markets will pay a much higher commission for plan N. They might be 25%, maybe to 26% being street level for plan N, right? So you're going to get a percentage of the premium at this point. So let's say the client, and usually Medicare Supplements is going to depend on the market. So some markets you might be able to pay $100 a month for a Med Supp. Other markets it might be $200 a month for a Med Supp. It's going to depend on your state and your market, and it's going to vary. In some states that have higher premiums might pay a lower percentage, right? So you might look at it and be like, oh, for premiums $300 a month in a certain market, that's looking good for me. Not necessarily, right? So it does vary a little bit. But if the client pays $100 a month and you're making 20%, you're making $20 a month. You have the option of setting up your Medicare Supplement contracts where you can get advanced if you want to. 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Of course, it's the same rule as final expense. If they fall off the books, you have to pay back anything that was advanced to you. But the persistency is much higher with Medicare Supplement than it is with final expense. That's just a fact. All the data points to that. And then typically after your advance is done, then you're going to get paid monthly on that claim. Usually with most Medicare Supplement companies, years 1 through 6, you're going to make this. From years 7 to 10, they usually reduce it by half or around half. So the commission gets cut down with most companies. And a lot of companies will stop paying you altogether after 10 years. But there are a couple of companies that might pay lifetime commissions. There's not a bunch of them, like United American is one. United Healthcare in most situations will pay after year 10, but they'll go down quite a bit, even farther than half. So usually with Medicare Supplements, on average, you're looking at about 10 years in terms of your monthly renewals. So guys, the Medicare business is lucrative. It's amazing. This is essentially what you're looking at. You also have ancillary products. You have hospital indemnity products. You have cancer products. You have dental, vision, hearing products. And these are products that can help your clients immensely, but they also help you have more policies in the house. We've talked about this a lot before on this channel. If you have any questions about the Medicare opportunity, we'd love to have a dialogue with you. Drop it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed me breaking down these numbers for you, I'd love for you to know about it. I'd love for you to let me know about it, I should say. So drop a like in this video. This helps me know you guys like to see these whiteboard videos. You want to see more of content like this. So drop a like in the video. Let me know about it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Make sure to come to the 6-Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for watching. Here's to your success and your abundance. Thanks, guys.